Hello history and ASMR fans. I feel like today I look really wide, but I'm just leaning back in my chair because we're chilling today. I'm going to be asking you some random history questions. If you fall asleep, or if you think you're going to fall asleep, don't forget to like the video and subscribe before you do. And I really hope you enjoy. Hopefully this picks up my voice, and this one on my knee picks up the pencil. So we'll start by asking you about some inventors and discoveries, and then I'll give you an event or a thing of historical significance. You've got to tell me the date. And then we'll do which author wrote this work. And then I'll give you a date and you tell me what happened. Good luck. Let's just get to it, shall we? So we'll start easy. Who invented the light bulb? Exactly. Thomas Edison. Well done. And who invented the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell. Exactly right. Okay, who invented the airplane? Close, yeah. It's like William and Oliver, but it's actually Wilbur and Orville Wright, the Wright brothers. Who discovered the radioactive elements? Who's most known for that? Yes, Marie Curie. Or Marie Curie. What do you say, Marie or Marie? Not that much difference, is there? Who created the Walker method, which was the hair care treatment method for black women's hair? No worries, that's Madam C.J. Walker, named after her. Who created the portable fridges that were really important for moving blood and food during World War II? No. That's Frederick Jones, that's okay. And who do we call the father of the computer? Charles Babbage, yeah. And the ironing board was created by Sarah Boone. And the electronic television. That's okay, I didn't know either. It is Philo T. Farnsworth. Next up is the telegraph. Who created the telegraph, the communication system? It's the same guy that created Morse code, that communication method too. Samuel Morse, well done. And then, who made the first ice cream maker machine, I suppose? That's Nancy Johnson. And who invented Monopoly, a bit more of a modern one? Elizabeth Maggie. I think it's Maggie though, because it's only one G. And the first paper bag was made by Margaret E. Knight. And windshield wipers, who created them? Mary Anderson. And whose ideas are behind GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi? She was also an actress first. Hedy Lamarr. Who created the life raft? Maria Beasley. Not related to Pam from The Office, I'm sure. Who created the dishwasher? Josephine Cochrane. Who made the first home security system, so the alarm systems you'd have in your house? Marie Van Britten Brown. And I don't know if this person created automobiles entirely, but they made them more affordable for the middle classes, or they created the production line. Henry Ford, who created Braille, the method of which visually impaired people can read. His last name is Braille, it's Louis Braille. Who created the calculator? Blaise Pascal. And lastly, who made the first printing press? Johannes Gutenberg. There we go. Solid first round, well done. Okay, now I'm going to tell you an event or a thing that happened, and if you could give me the date, please. Hopefully we'll start off easy. When was the Battle of Hastings? October 1066. Perfect. And when was the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, the famous Pompeii? August in the year 79. When was Tutankhamun's burial chamber opened? February 1923. When did the Black Death first arrive in England? 1346. When did Samuel Morse send that very first telegraph message? It was May of 1884. And Napoleon became Emperor of France in May 1804. When was the Gunpowder Plot? 1605. Come on, you know more specific than that. Remember the 5th of November, the Gunpowder Treason and Plot. When did the Romans successfully invade Britain? 43. Peasants' revolt started in London in 1381, and the Boston Tea Party, 1773. I'll admit I know nothing about that. I just know it's a big part of American history. When was the dissolution of the monasteries? 1536. When did the Vikings invade Britain? 793. When was the first Jacobite rebellion? 1715. I only very recently learnt what that actually was. So, the Jacobites wanted the Stuart line. Sorry, I can see that bit of hair. Is that a shadow or is that a bit of hair? Oh, it's a shadow. Okay. The Jacobites wanted the Stuart line of monarchs back in power. So Queen Anne was the last Stuart monarch, who I believe died without an heir in 1714. So her cousin George I, the Hanoverian German king, got the throne, came over from Germany, and the Jacobites didn't want him. They wanted the Stuarts still, because James the First of Scotland was still about, and they wanted him on the throne. So that's what Jacobites were. Didn't know that before this week. When was the Great Fire of Rome? In the year 64. Now, I did a module on Nero at uni, and it's all about the fact that he didn't fiddle while Rome burned. He didn't just play his instrument while Rome burned, he helped evacuate. But anyway, Beethoven's birthday, do you know that? December 17th, 1770, which which is 6 years before something happened in American history, because that one thing in Hamilton that goes 1776, is that when they signed the Constitution that made them the United States. So then is it the 4th of July 1776? Is that independence? That would be my guess, but I don't know. I'm supposed to be asking you questions, not rambling on about what I don't know. Right, when was the Doomsday Book, which was the record that everyone signed basically so they could be taxed? Yeah, 1086. So the Sutton Hoo burial, the ship that was found, when was that dated to? The year 650. And Bede wrote his ecclesiastical history, which is an important medieval document. 731. Trinity College in London was founded by Henry VIII in 1546. Fabulous. Okay. Now I'll give you a title of a book or a writing or a factual piece of writing or a story. You've just got to tell me who wrote it. They might not necessarily be that historical, they're more just like famous authors. We'll see how you get on. Can you tell me who wrote The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn? Mark Twain. And one of my favourite books ever, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Oscar Wilde, yeah. Who wrote Emma? Jane Austen. Who wrote Middlemarch? Or is it Middlemarch? George Eliot, also known as, or her real name was, Mary Ann Evans. Lovely stuff. And whose diary is the most famous personal account of the Holocaust and the tragedies of that time? Anne Frank, yep. Who wrote Antigone? That's okay, very long time ago. Sophocles. Ancient play, don't worry about it. Who wrote 1984? George Orwell. Now, I've written here politics, and I know who I mean, but I'm sure there's so many people that have written a book that's just called Politics. I was thinking Aristotle, but if you said someone else, just take a point. If you are scoring yourself, of course. Who wrote Alice's Adventures in Wonderland? Lewis Carroll. Yeah, and he wrote it based on one of his colleagues from Oxford University's daughters. Who wrote The Bear? Anton Chekhov. And who wrote the play Dido, Queen of Carthage? Also supposedly Shakespeare's enemy. Christopher Marlowe. That's just reminded me of that David Mitchell show, Upstart Crow. That was a good show. I've not watched that in a very long time. Maybe I'll try and find it on something. Who wrote Winnie the Pooh? A.A. Milne and Lysistrata, another ancient one. Aristophanes. And who wrote The Old Man and the Sea? Ernest Hemingway. And Frankenstein, the first ever sci-fi novel. Shelley, married to another famous writer, Percy Shelley, who was friends with Lord Byron. Sorry, lots of add-on extra questions there. Bonus points for you, bonus points for you. And then, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, which is the first feminist, written by the first feminist, arguably. It is Mary Shelley's mother, Mary Wollstonecraft, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. More known for Horton Hears a Who and Cat and That. Dr. Seuss, yeah. Whose diaries is the primary source for things like the English Restoration, the Second Dutch War maybe, and the Great Fire of London and the Great Plague, or the Black Death? Samuel... Don't worry, I don't know how you say his last name either, Peps or Peeps. Yeah, that's fine. And who wrote what is considered the first modern European novel, Don Quixote, which if I've butchered that pronunciation, I'm very sorry. Quixote. Miguel de Cervantes or Cervantes, and Lord of the Rings is J.R.R. Tolkien. And who wrote the Seven Pillars of Wisdom, which was then turned into the film Lawrence of Arabia? T.E. Lawrence, clues in the name. And who wrote the earliest recorded liturgical drama, Ordo Virtutum? It is a woman, Hildegard von Bingen, or Bigden, no, Bingen, and who wrote Wuthering Heights? Emily Bronte. Amazing. Easy round, right? I'm not sure many of them were actually that historical, were they? I just went through a random list from Google and picked some out. Maybe I could have put Catherine Parr in there. She wrote her own version of the Book of Common Prayer, did she? Anyway, final round. Dun, dun, dun. For this round, I'm going to give you a year, and if you could please tell me the historical event, the thing of importance or significance. Obviously, there might be multiple things per year, so if you say something I don't, give yourself an extra point if you're even scoring it. If you say something that I don't, then you can still feel good about yourself, basically. What is something that happened in the year? I've written 1212, but I mean 1215. What happened in the year 1215, please? So I've got the sealing of the Magna Carta, and in 1837 Queen Victoria became Queen. Now this one's slightly more specific. In December 1955, Rosa Parks didn't give up her seat and was arrested. In February 1587, Mary, Queen of Scots, was beheaded, and I'm sure many other things happened. 1455. So I've got the War of the Roses began, and And then March 1932. Hopefully, if you've watched the podcast episodes, you'll know. Amelia Earhart was the first woman to fly solo over the Atlantic. And again, if you've been here a while, what happened in the year 60 or 61? Boudica, yeah. One of my favourite women of history, of course. Had to get her in somehow. 1337. I put that it was the start of the 100 Years' War. And then 1534. I've written down, Reformation has a Catholic no more, by which I mean Henry VIII wanted to divorce Catherine of Aragon, so left the Catholic Church, broke us from Rome and the Pope, and reformed religion forever. 1815. At Waterloo, Napoleon did surrender. Yeah, the Battle of Waterloo. In 1642 was the start of the English Civil War between Oliver Cromwell and Charles I, the Roundheads and the Cavaliers. What started in 1903? I'm sure a lot of things. So I put the suffragette movement. Started in Manchester with the Women's Social and Political Union Party, I believe, led by Emmeline Pankhurst, or Emmeline. March 44 BCE, the Ides of March. Julius Caesar was assassinated in Rome. And then, similar in Rome in the year 69, was the year of the 4 emperors in Rome. We have Emperor Galba, then Otho. I just watched Beetlejuice, that's so funny. Otto, Vitellius, and Vespasian. Yeah. And then 1453. The 100 Years' War ended for the first time. Apparently it started up again later. And in 1554, Lady Jane Grey was beheaded, yeah, after being queen for 9 or 13 days, thank you very much, in 1666. The Great Fire of London. In 722, very important Anglo-Saxon epic poem, the first written version of Beowulf, 1716. So I had that George III first became king, and it's the start of the first industrial revolution. And in 1840, so you could have had Queen Victoria married Prince Albert, and the penny post system started. And lastly, in 899, it was the death of King Alfred the Great. That brings us to the end of me asking you random history questions. I do hope you've enjoyed and that you got some questions right, you found some challenging, you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Actually, before we end, let's end with some book ASMR. So I'll sign off my voice now, but we'll end the